Hello there, friends. Welcome back to the Ohio Podcast. My name is Morgan Freeman. Most of you are probably wondering why there's a man in the moat. Hey, what are you doing over there, Rob Dog?
Hey, Leon fell over, man.
Hey, Leon. We got an alien in the studio amongst other cool shit, but this is the Ohio Podcast. I am one half of the Ohio Podcast, a.k.a. the delicious Nickalicious.
And I am the savior of aliens, Corn Cob Rob. Hey, everybody. How's it going? How's it fucking hanging? Let me get a fucking...
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with that. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a very special day here in Ohio land because I don't remember why it's a special day. It's just another new episode. But you know, the cool thing about this, it's one of those directions we don't often go, that we like to go.
Straight.
Mega... Yeah, what you did there. Mega uber conspiracy. Okay, yeah. Lots of possible aliens. Lots of Nazis.
Nazi aliens?
Lots of Nazi aliens. Lots of people dying.
Sweet.
A lot of guys fucking.
That's what I'm about.
A lot of guys ripping and tearing. What we must get into right now are our new Patreon subscribers.
Fuck yeah, let's get right into them.
First off, Hamish Butterworth.
Wow.
I hope that's a real person. Hamish Butterworth. I picture this guy has the fattest fucking ass on a dude that has ever been put on an ass on a man.
Oh, that's awesome.
You slap that ass and it's just like...
Just cheeks galore.
Then you whisper in it and he goes... Dwayne. It's Dwayne.
Little ball, just...
Yeah.
Next, we have the lovely Kelly Warga. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Warga! Thank you, Warga! Mark Strini. Thank you, Mark Strini. You spelled your first name incorrectly, but we'll still allow you to be on the show here.
Next, then we got Jenny Cupcakes. That's the cutest name ever.
I do believe she's going on the Ohio cruise, which is going to be really exciting. If you go to our Facebook page, go back a couple weeks, you can see all the info details for the Ohio Podcast cruise with Hillbilly Horror Stories. Lots of people going in there. I booked my room today.
Oh, I was going to say, have you booked yours yet? I still haven't. I need to do that.
She said there's plenty of rooms left.
Okay, good deal.
Jerry Pauly's a fucking liar. He said, you guys better hurry up. All these people are booking this cruise to go.
He's got all these rooms saved for all of his fucking animals. Gotta have the weasel in one room, 4 dogs in others.
My ferret doesn't get a balcony. I'm not going.
Is that a weasel?
It's a weasel. Depends on what time of the day it is.
Okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this wig today. It's a little warm in here.
Yeah, it is fucking hot. I gotta find an alternative for cooling in this room. I don't know what it's gonna be. I can't put a window unit in there. It's just,
it's loud. It'll be right by the microphones.
Who knows? Who fucking cares?
We'll throw a bag of ice in the corner.
Booger Bear, thank you for your Patreon pledge. Thank you, Booger Bear.
Next, we got Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Hopefully it's Kevin McAllister. And if it's not Kevin McAllister, then fuck you.
Hey, you little pervert. You better get out of here before I slap you silly.
Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'll slap you silly. Hey, God, when am I going to Vegas? I'm going to Vegas this weekend, this Friday.
Go check him out.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Go check out Rob Dog.
If you're going to be in Vegas with me, hit me up.
Badunk-a-dunk. Next up, Babak. Thank you for your Patreon pledge. We'd love to hear a guy eat you out sometime. Thank you.
And last but not least, this guy has a beautiful mustache in his picture. It's Mr. Mike Golf. Thank you very much, Mr. Golf. You're a fucking national treasure.
I've been waiting all week, actually like a week and a half to tell you this story. Some shit happened to me. I don't know why it is, but the weird stuff always happens to me in public. Yeah. I had to go to the Kroger pharmacy to pick up something for one of the kids. Mm-hmm. And I got there, and they fucked everything up. They said it's going to be a few minute wait. And I'm a pretty patient person. I don't get upset about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like if restaurants fuck my food up, I'm just like, it happens.
Yeah, I'm the person that won't even say anything. I'll just eat it.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I'll say something, but I don't get mad. They're like, I'm so sorry. Shit happens, bro. Just don't worry about it. It happens. Right. We're all trying our fucking best out here.
Yeah.
But I'm at the pharmacy. They said, something slipped through. It's going to take a few minutes. You can have a seat and wait, or you can go shop. And I did not want to walk around Kroger and get COVID. So I sat down there in the pharmacy and waited for someone to bring the COVID to me. And I got a while, and I've been trying to drink a lot more water.
Mm-hmm.
And when I start to drink more water, dude, I got to piss like every 7 minutes.
I feel you.
It is uncanny. I realize why I've drank nothing but Coca-Cola Classic and ginger ale my entire life because it doesn't make me piss as much as
Yeah, at that point you're just pissing syrup, so it just comes out a lot slower.
It clogs everything up, does a really nice job of keeping everything from flowing along. So I go to the bathroom, run in the bathroom to go piss. I'm standing there at the urinal, and I have this compulsive thing that I do. I always count when I'm pissing and try and break my personal record. I don't know what my personal record is, but as soon as I start pissing, I'm like, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. And I always count my pisses to see how long they take.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I try and, NASCAR it, beat my best lap.
Huh.
So maybe you can try that sometime.
Yeah, I have a different thing. I count, and I think this is probably normal. Every single time I'm in, like if I'm like pulling the thing to get down paper towels, I always count every single time how many actually come out. Yeah, it's real weird.
There's a little bit. Not a lot of people do that.
No.
You said this might be pretty common. No, you're the only fucking person in the world that does that.
One of the places I used to work, I used to talk about that, and there's a lot of people that did that. So
maybe they just wanted to be your friend.
Maybe
you kind of have one of the infectious personalities.
Yeah,
there's this guy at my work today. He looks fucking just like you.
Okay.
And I looked at him today, and we've kind of become friends, a little bit. And I said, my best friend looks just like you. And he says, does he? I said, yes, and he's very sexually aggressive towards me. And I don't know this guy well enough to make this statement, but I said, he's very sexually aggressive towards me. And he started laughing. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, sometimes he grabs me by the crotch and pulls me into him from behind. From behind, he grabs me from behind around my waist, my crotch, and he pulls me into him. And he said, okay, dude. Fucking creep the fuck out.
That's the best part is that you don't even know the guy that well.
Yeah. It's very sexually aggressive towards me. Anyways, I'm at the pharmacy. I'm going to the bathroom. I got to piss really bad. I'm in there 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and I hear, and the door opens. And I hear the fucking thundering of the herd come in. It sounded like the dad from Dinosaurs was walking by.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Just someone with a big ass fucking lumbering behind me. It's a really small
Hamish Butterworth.
Yeah, just Hamish Butterworth. That's exactly who it was walking behind me. Just someone that stunk like cat piss and just had a huge fat ass. And I could feel the aura as soon as he entered. And this guy walked there was only one stall, and I was in the urinal. And he sat down on the toilet like you got a big old fat ass couch and you're just been mowing all day.
Oh, yeah.
You just plop down on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's how this big son of a bitch sat down on that toilet, and he about unearthed it from the fucking
You could hear the
foundation.
The circular bowl suctioning to his ass.
You could hear his butt cheeks slap the porcelain. Oh my God. And I just like audibly, I'm like, what the fuck? And I looked down, and this big old fucking grizzly bear, he had his legs like spread apart far enough that I can see his left foot underneath the partition. And I look down at his foot, and it's all like scaly, dry skin and long, curly yellow toenails. And I'm like, oh my God. So I hold my breath immediately. I don't bother washing my hands because I got a nice clean dick. I don't know about some of you puffy nipple motherfuckers listening to the show, but I got a nice clean dick, clean like a whistle.
You're just preparing for the mudslide.
Yeah, I am at this point. So I get out of there. I boogie on out. And as soon as I leave, there's like a 60, 70-year-old woman out there in a long skirt, jean jacket, like, goes to church 6 times a week, smells like cat piss, just disgusting.
Yeah.
And I could tell they were with one another. I didn't have to see this guy. I just saw his feet. He was wearing slides, like knockoff slides. And she said, hi there, my name's Teresa. And I was like, hi.
He's in there shitting, baby.
She said, my husband Merle just went in there. Is he okay? And I'm thinking, like, I thought to myself, this motherfucker sat down really hard, and he kind of almost sounded like he fell. And I didn't care to help him because I wasn't going in there. Okay?
Yeah.
And I said, Teresa, I'm going to be honest with you. It sounded like he might have came down kind of hard in there. She said, oh, his sugar's acting up. His sugar is acting up. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what the fuck you do when your sugar's acting up. She said, can you open the door and ask him if he needs a drink? Me being the good Samaritan that I am, I said, yeah, I'll at least give you that. And I opened the door, and I said, I looked back at her. I said, what's his name again? She said, Merle. He's the only one in there. Yeah. And I said, hey, Merle, buddy, your wife's out here. She wants to know if you need a drink, if you're doing okay. He said, I can hear him winding up to talk. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't need no Mountain Dew. This gets way better. Just wait for it. And I turned back around, and I know she could hear me. I know she could hear him through me. But I said, he said he doesn't want anything to drink. And she said, well, I'm worried about him, and can you go in there and ask him if his sugar's okay? And at this point, I'm like, I am not going back in this fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
And I said, I tell you what, Teresa, how about you go in there, you go to the door, ask him what he needs, and I'll 6'5" for you. You know, prison jargon, 6'5" is where you watch somebody's back. Make sure nobody comes along. I said, I'll watch your back. I'll make sure nobody's coming trying to go in the bathroom, because you could tell she's only seen one pecker in her entire life, and it was Merle's dick. That was the only probably dick she's seen in her entire life.
God bless her.
She didn't want somebody walking up in there while she's in the boys' bathroom. Probably be the most humiliating thing she's ever gone through in her fucking 60-year-old 20 cat having life. She said, oh, that'll be real good. That'll be real good. Thank you. So she walks up to the door. I take about 5 steps back. She barely cracks the door, and she says, Merle, are you okay? And Merle says, Teresa! he can't say Teresa all the way.
Teresa!
He says, Teresa! Poop my pants!
Poor guy.
And she said, Merle, no, you did not. And you can tell whenever she said that he got so fucking mad because you could hear it in his voice. He went, Teresa! Screamed, dude. Teresa! I'll shit my pants! Fucking yelling at her, dude.
How does this shit always happen to you, dude? I don't get it.
And I'm just standing there thinking,
I just find turds on the walls when I go to the bathroom in public places.
She's going to ask me to go in here and help this fucking landslide, this big fucker.
Fucking ran away at that point.
And she looks back. She looks at me. She said, are we good? Is there nobody coming? Because I might have to step in there. I said, no, we're good. As soon as I say that, she starts to go in there. And around the corner comes like a 4-year-old, like fucking 20 feet ahead of his mom, run into the bathroom. It's just him by himself, and his mom's pushing the cart. And he's grabbing his dick, running down the aisle, and he's kind of fucking pissed. And I can't just grab somebody else's kid. But, hey, little fucker, you can't go in there. Some fat guy just shit all over himself. Teresa! Teresa! Shit my goddamn pants, Teresa! So I'm like, hey. And he just like fucking cross-eyed looked at me and kept on going into the bathroom. Dude, he took 2 steps in, and I could hear this little fucker. His name was Trevor. He started fucking gagging. I could hear him gagging. He went, ah! And then I see the door like, you know, like a door is too heavy for a kid. They open it, and he can't get it open. So I go over and I kind of like push the door open a little bit, and he runs out. I'm holding my breath. And he runs back to his mom, and he tells his mom, he's like, it smells like poop really bad, and I can't go in there. And she walks up, I'm like, there's a man and a wife in there right now. And I think he's going through some stuff. He's going through an accident. And as soon as I said that, the pharmacist is like, Mr. Alexander. I'm like, thank fucking God. I walked over there and got the stuff, dude. But he said, Teresa!
Man, I forgot you were even there for a prescription at this point.
Teresa! I shit my pants! I said, I'm sorry, Merle.
Poor guy. Poor Merle.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
R.I.P. Merle.
R.I.P.
Rest in poop.
We got to, let's see here. I have to set this up. It's from we had a listener submit this. She's a teacher.
Okay.
She said, don't use my fucking name. So we're going to call her Daytona because that's a really nice name for a teacher.
Oh, that is pretty.
We got to go here. This is let's set this up a little bit.
Sure.
It's a woman. She's in church.
Oh, yeah.
And she has been, something's filled her up. A demon. Sounds like it might be a Jamaican church or a Caribbean church of some type. I don't know.
It's a fun video. It's made its rounds.
And she thinks that the demon has come in her mouth, and the church is working. Came in her mouth.
Cummed.
Look that demon. Look oral sex demon. You see oral sex? Look oral sex. Look. You
That's
oral sex.
Horrible technique.
You oral sex.
So, by the way, horrible technique.
Yeah, she's spitting in her hand. The pastor's yelling at the oral sex demon. Oral sex demon! Ora sex demon!
Let that sperm of that man out. Ow!
He's got paper towels.
Out,
the
you
guy's
demon.
coming in clutch with towels.
She's spitting all over the fucking microphone.
Out! Let go, let go, let go. Let go.
Delivered me 2 Sundays back. Then a demon came with his penis and put it in my mouth.
The demon put it in my mouth. And if you are someone that typically doesn't catch us on YouTube, actually, I've included the video on the YouTube.
Yeah,
stream
look at
for
that.
this one,
We're getting fancy.
Yeah, it's really easy. It wasn't hard. I'm just a fucking.
Hey, no.
idiot.
It's real fancy.
Yeah.
We slaved hours for this.
And then he came again and he slept with me last week. And I told
Damn.
the pastor that I need deliverance again. And since then, my private part has been itching.
Oh,
that's
no.
not a demon.
That's
I got the yeast infection. I got the loaf of Wonder Bread.
Yes.
he fucking thumped her.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Speak. Who are you? Take. Who are you?
Oh,
Look
she's
at that
running.
demon. Look at that demon.
She's running.
Look at that demon.
Look at that demon.
Look at that demon. Look at that demon. Who are you? Who are you? Speak. Speak out. Who are you? Who are you?
I'm that motherfucker.
And people wonder why I don't believe in religion.
No, she just went all the way to the ground.
This demon can help you.
Oh, there she
Oh,
goes.
here she goes.
She's jitterbugging.
Oh, shit.
She kicked the fuck out of her right there.
Oh, God.
Come up from the private part.
Come on to the private part.
Come up
She
from the
is
private part.
actively sucking on the demon's penis while she's
Man.
being he's performing an exorcism. She's currently got the demon phallus in it. You can't see the demon because of the demon,
No.
obviously. But she is sucking on the demon penis, and he is trying to get that phallus out of her mouth.
You in her private part. Demon in the private part.
Holy water.
So
He's got a spritzer bottle of holy water.
He's got a tube of water, and he's spraying her on the crotch.
Oh, her poor vagina.
Watch what happens. Fire! 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 Come out from the private.
Come out
Come
from
out
the
from
private.
Come out from the private. Come out. Out. From the private. Go.
Thumped her in the head again.
Punched her. She's going down.
Oh.
Come off the demon private part. Fatality.
What is your name?
Rosamond Daniel.
Good for her.
Rosamond Daniel. What happened to you today?
So you delivered me today, and then when I went to the bathroom, I think 15 minutes later, some white stuff came out with the blood after you sprayed.
Oh, praise
Come on,
God.
somebody.
Praise
After
the Lord.
I spray with the water.
Praise the power
After
of
I spray,
Jesus.
something came out white. Put your hands together. Hallelujah.
Something come out white.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
It's fucking nasty. Oh, you got to come off the private part. If you are the demon, you got to come off the private part.
Amen, brother.
That's what I
love that. It's just the video that keeps on giving right there.
It is. And I'm glad we could share that with you guys.
Means a lot.
We need to get to the episode now. We've got a lot going on here. This could be a long one. I don't know. I'm hoping we can get through this. I'm hoping. You just got to come off the demon private part. I'm going to take a little drink real quick.
Let's just get halfway through and just stop.
can.
Just fucking not do it.
We did that one where the FBI knocked on the door during the Clinton episode.
Oh,
We
yeah,
stopped.
man. I still haven't recovered from that.
That was a fun night.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good episode.
It was.
It's our most listened to episode.
Still?
Yep, by far.
Huh. Shows how much I pay attention.
Everyone hates Hillary Clinton.
I
That's
guess
all
it's
it
true.
is.
Yeah.
Well, in the early morning hours of May 7th, 1945, I'm a bit of a World War II fan. I shouldn't say a fan. I shouldn't say a buff because I don't know a lot about World War II. I know probably more than the average person, but I don't know a lot about World War II, but I love learning about World War II.
It is very interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. In the early morning hours of May 7th, 1945, the remnants of Nazi Germany's military leadership signed an unconditional surrender to Allied forces.
Suck it, fuckers.
Yeah, you going down. When the news broke the next day, troops and civilians around the world celebrated Victory in Europe Day. The Soviet Union would mark Victory Day on May 9th, exuberant about the end of nearly 6 years of war that had destroyed much of Europe. When German and Allied military officials gathered again in Berlin near midnight on May 8th to sign surrender documents, the atmosphere in the room was heavy with emotional and political weight. And just like that, within the span of 7 days, Adolf Hitler was dead and Nazi Germany was no more. Surrendering as a beaten, broken down shell of what it once was, the dictatorship was no more. Or, as Rob and I like to call him, not the dictator, but the tater dick.
Adolf Hitler was dead.
Rest in peace, Adolf.
Oh, and on that note, I know it might be a little premature, but I'm going to take a sip for DMX right now.
What's I really want? Yeah.
My dude's on life support.
He is. I hate with anytime someone's in a bad situation, TMZ always says they're in a vegetative state. I don't like that. I fucking hate vegetables. So. You don't like vegetables, do you?
I do.
They've been serving a lot of Brussels sprouts at my work cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't bad.
I'm not a fan of them.
They're a lot better than I thought they would be.
They're too leafy.
Asparagus is fucking nasty.
I love asparagus.
Let's see. That's the divide. And that's why the things will never advance any further than what they already are right now.
Hey, I mean, you'll eat my Brussels sprouts, I'll eat your asparagus. We're good.
We're the perfect team.
Exactly.
We're the perfect catch. We're not like, singularly the best catch, but us collectively, we're one good catch.
You gotta always think on the bright side.
Yeah, absolutely. The power of positivity.
There you go.
I do like it. The official narrative goes that Adolf Hitler, he died in a bunker of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Or did he?
But as we've covered on this show before, that narrative doesn't quite fit like it should.
He was alive.
He was very much. Well, I think he was. Some say he escaped to Germany. Some say he escaped to Argentina. Other people say he escaped to South America via German U-boat.
Oh.
There's also the famous now declassified CIA document from October 3rd, 1955 that claims Hitler was still alive and bouncing between Colombia and Argentina.
Yeah, there we go.
My nose is already starting to stop up.
Yeah, drink some more, man.
I got to go take some nose spray real quick, if that's okay with you.
Now I'll hold down the fort over here.
Okay, this step's really kicked my ass, Rob.
How's your nose?
I'm good.
Do some booger sugar?
I am a level D podcaster without nose spray. I am a C+ podcaster with nose spray.
Hey, that's the type of grade we strive for.
It is absolutely. We are average.
Very average.
Below average in some areas, perfectly average in some other areas.
Yeah. Yeah. Political sensitivity, we're about a D.
That's where people get their rocks off on this show, though, man. They're like, they can tune in and they know that we're going to say what they're feeling. We're not going to hold back.
Unless you get the Dan Browns that listen, and then it's just all bad news for them.
I wonder how we've avoided cancel culture so far.
If we ever got really popular, it would be really bad.
They go back and listen. Yeah, we'd have to probably.
But the thing is, I mean, it's like I don't know. I'm not going to get into the argument, but
we're good guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in the sake of fucking comedy, guys.
Yeah, it is.
Poor excuse for comedy, but I
don't act like this all the time.
No, it's all a fucking joke.
Just a little. This is all.
Lighten the fuck up.
Whether Hitler really died or not, we do not.
Lighten the fuck up, then we go right into Hitler.
Yes, Adolf. Whether Hitler really died, we will never definitively know. But what we can definitively say, the Germans had technology. Yes, the Germans had technology. God. You all right?
Oh, God, it was a big drink.
Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, technology, scientists, research, and experimental study results that the Americans coveted. And when I say coveted, I mean the Americans wanted to fuck it real hard. They wanted what the Germans had as far as technological advances. And we were willing to do whatever it took to get it.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Part of the Nazis' infamous concentration camps, the uncanny human experimentation that was taking place at these facilities. There was experiments on twins. That was one of their favorite things to do at these concentration camps, were the experiments they were carrying out on twins. One of those, they would actually sew the twins together.
Oh, jeez.
Not separate them.
Oh, man.
But they would actually physically sew them together, and this would cause them to inevitably die. People would oftentimes have their bones, muscles, and nerves removed without any anesthesia.
Oh, jeez.
They would freeze people to discover how to treat hypothermia. They would often, there were stories of them freezing people to the point where they would go try to remove them from wherever they were at, and their limbs would break in half.
Oh, my gosh.
How frozen they would get. They would do seawater experiments where they would take a controlled group of people, and they would only let them consume seawater, salt water.
Yeah, that's not good for you.
And they were going through filtration experiments where they would filter the seawater, and you can imagine we've come a long way in water filtration since then.
The 40s.
Yeah. And they would only give them the seawater. And these people reached the point of such extreme dehydration that when the other concentration camp prisoners would mop their area, they would get down on the ground and try and slurp the mop water off the ground in order to hydrate themselves.
That's fucking awful.
That is fucking awful. But those were the atrocities being committed against other humans in Nazi Germany in the concentration camps. It's not a pleasant thing, Rob, but it's something that we need to know about. And that's, we were just briefly talking about cancel culture, all these different things. The mistakes that we have made as humanity in the past helps shape us going forward.
Oh, yeah.
So, my fucking dog's barking as I'm about to lay down some truth.
You're about to get serious.
If we completely erase history, how are we going to learn from our mistakes?
Exactly.
100 years from now.
And you got these fucking idiots that are Holocaust deniers.
Yeah.
Like, that shit.
It's disgusting.
And culture can eat a dick.
Yeah, it absolutely
bitch.
can, and we have to be cognizant as humans of the things that went bad years prior. We're still making mistakes that we made 40, 50, 60 years ago.
Well, yeah, and I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we are like infants. In the life cycle of the universe, we're a very, very superior, inferior being in this whole cataclysm of fucking atoms flying around.
I didn't know what the fuck you're trying to say. I was about to watch your brain fly around. I didn't know it was he's about to come or fart and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, we're babies here.
Yeah, but I just I really want to hold on to that thought for a second and just think about all the stuff we're erasing from history just for the sake of not hurting someone's feelings. Fuck, whenever our kids read a history book in 40 or 50 years, who knows what it's going to say?
Right.
Much like the history books we read in high school. Think about how much has not accurately reported in the history books, things that were completely different.
We celebrate Christopher Columbus.
He was a bad dude.
The fact that we celebrate him still to this day is insane.
It'd be a hard thing to change.
Insane.
And
I mean, you have all these textbooks, which like exactly like you were talking about, that almost glorify him, and just a lot of things that, along that nature that we glorify, and it's like it was awful.
It was awful. Not that he was. He's a bit of an exception because the time that he lived, that is what was normal.
I mean, it was a norm, right?
So
exactly.
Just because it's bad now, which yes, it is bad now, but it's important to learn about the mistakes that we made in the past. But that's the way, that was the norm then, and no one's making an excuse for that. It's an atrocity. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
That was the norm. Much like you go to an island, some of these islands with feral people now, right?
Oh yeah, dude, those are my favorite videos to watch.
When these people are seeing drones or helicopters for the first time,
they'll shoot arrows at them.
They will fucking kill anything that comes close to coming to their coastline.
Yeah,
and you know what? And it's not like someone says, "Well, we gotta go wipe them motherfuckers out." Everyone says, "Well, you can't blame them. They've never seen anything before."
And I gotta look up exactly what it is, but there's a story that I was reading and watching quite a while ago, but it was really interesting. It was about this. I think he was a reporter who wanted to do a some sort of article on this group of Aborigines that have never made contact with people before, and he went to this random island where they lived, and the company that he worked for stopped hearing from him. That was the last contact, so they assumed him to be dead. And then like months or maybe even years later, someone else was around that area and took pictures of that group of people. Yeah. And there was one random white guy in the middle of all of them as if they like accepted him and took him into the tribe.
Bumblebee tuna.
It was like really cool because everybody was like, could this be him?
Yeah,
but I mean, like at that point he was super skinny. He had a huge beard, so it was really hard to tell from.
It had to have been,
and it was an awful picture. But just like, man,
it's so crazy, man.
It's
There's
crazy.
People out there that have never experienced anything besides a coconut tree and the fucking water around them. That's the only thing they've ever experienced in their entire life. Yeah. They don't know about airplanes, helicopters. They don't know about cars, boats.
It's like real life Moana. Like the island gives you everything you need. Why do you need to leave?
Yeah, they're out there. But we just, I hate to see the history books being rewritten.
Yeah.
I think people need to know what was wrong is wrong, but they need to know how we got there as a civilization.
Exactly. They need to know that as a human species in certain periods of time, we've fucked up pretty bad.
Yeah.
And we need to learn from that. The only way you can change these social behaviors is to accept what we did, learn from it, and then adapt from there.
Yeah. Cousins fuck each other all the time.
Yeah, we have to learn about the couple times when when a couple arms grow out of heads before we realize that's not a good idea.
Cousins fuck all the time.
Cousins fuck all the time.
And for you guys,
let's just title this episode that. Cousins fuck all the time.
You guys listening that have puffy nipples, that's probably the only intimacy you're ever going to have in your life is your cousin, your other man cousin that you used to play WrestleMania with.
Yeah.
You guys used to strip down to your shit-stained tighty-whities and wrestle, and then it would turn into a hot, heated fuck session. And then your cousin would realize you had puffy nipples and not want anything to do with you. And here you are listening to this podcast. We welcome you. Thank you for listening to the Brahio podcast.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Did you crack that Blanton's yet?
No, I was waiting until we could talk to her and say thank you.
Okay.
You can fucking have at it, dog. I don't care.
No, I'm going to leave it here until we get a message back from her.
All right. While these are some of the most inhumane things that have ever happened in the history of the world, the Nazi scientists were making huge leaps on medicinal research, vaccines, surgery, you name it, they were making breakthroughs.
Excuse me.
And that was why the Americans coveted these scientists so much. These guys were doing wild things, but they were also getting results. They were getting statistics and data that they could drive. These experiments were having they were making certain progress with them, and the Americans couldn't make the progress because they couldn't fucking sew twins together. Yeah. They couldn't freeze people. They couldn't put people in the gas chamber. They couldn't extract muscles, tendons, bones.
Well, never mind. I'm not going to get into it because I see there's an upcoming yellow section, which I'm assuming is my section about it.
Yeah.
But never mind.
The entire final months of World War II, American and British soldiers, they had a special organized team that scoured the country of Germany for as much military, scientific, and technological development research as they could get their hands on. As these German research facilities started to fall one by one, these teams, the American and British teams, they're interrogating these scientists as they seize these facilities. So they would go kick the fucking door in and say, this is our laboratory now. And then they would grab these scientists and they would interrogate them, and they were learning, hey, these guys have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things. We need them on Team America. But it wasn't that simple. At Bonn University, in a fucking toilet, of all places, the Americans discovered the Ozenberg list. This was a complete, nearly all-inclusive catalog of all of the scientists and engineers that were working and conducting experiments for the Third Reich.
I didn't know that's what it was called, but yeah, I knew about this.
Yeah. Originally called... All right, we're back after a brief pause for an interview that we did. Completely wonderful. Thank you to the interviewee.
Yes, it was great.
Special and wonderful.
Good times.
Now, this operation of them looking for all these scientists, and if I do sound a little bit drunker, well, go ahead and take a fucking guess at what's going on here.
You'll never know what we did during our interview.
Never guess what I put in my mouth. This operation was called Operation Overcast, and it would eventually be famously called Operation Paperclip.
Yes.
And old Rob Diggity Dangle Corncob Robert Dog is going to tell you a little bit about Operation Motherfucking Paperclip.
And this is one of my favorite things in the entire universe.
We will do an episode on Operation Paperclip.
Yeah, we've talked about it tons of times. But Operation Paperclip, so in order for us to get to Project Highjump, we have to talk about Project Paperclip a little. So America really had the bomb game figured out. Now, you can certainly recall us dropping 2 atomic bombs on Japan, effectively ending World War II.
What was that?
That was pretty good.
That wasn't good.
I like the fart explosion.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that'd make the atomic bombs a little less intimidating.
They just farted.
It was a big fart.
Like, oh no, Godzilla! And then the
It just smelled
bomb.
like shit.
Have you watched the new Godzilla King Kong movie?
I have not.
Really fucking good, dude.
My middle son, well, they all did because they spent the night at their uncle's house this weekend. I was talking to my wife earlier, and he was telling her what happened, and I was sitting there going la 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 because I did not want to know.
There's good fight scenes.
That's what
It's
I've
a
heard.
good movie.
Yeah. So the area the Americans weren't advancing, where the Germans were, was the evolution of rockets. So the U.S. government and military forced around 1,600 German scientists to move from Germany with their families to the U.S., where they would assist the U.S. in development of their arsenal of rockets, their biological weapons, and their chemical weapons. And this is completely backed by CIA documents. This is completely true.
Yep.
Harry S. Truman gave his blessings and sanctioned the operation, but he strictly forbade the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency from recruiting any scientists that remained Nazi sympathizers.
Harry S. Truman says, yeah, you can go get these motherfuckers.
But if you're still with them fucking Nazis...
But if you're down with OPP, yeah, you know me, you're not coming here and you're not getting down with these American scientists.
Yeah.
Well, the JIOA or the Joint Initial, what the fuck ever you called it.
Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency.
They were going to miss some heavy hitters in the science community. They weren't allowed to use the scientists that were still loyal followers of the Third Reich.
Yeah, so here's the thing you have to understand about this, and I don't think it's been said. Like I think you maybe touched on it a little bit. So these German/Nazi scientists were way ahead of what we were able to do at this point in time. So it was either pretty much us imprison or kill these guys, or, you know what, if you guys say goodbye to all your previous ties, we'll allow you to come work with us to teach us what you know and what you helped the Nazis and the Germans build.
Yeah.
So skeevy shit.
And they knew that they were going to miss some heavy hitters in the process if they weren't allowed to use the scientists that were still loyal to the Third Reich. They found a way to bypass the wishes of the president by eliminating and whitewashing incriminating evidence of possible war crimes from the scientists' records.
There you go.
Believing their intelligence to be crucial to the country's post-war efforts. Mm-hmm. One of the most famous names from Operation Paperclip was Werner Von Braun.
Oh, yeah.
He was the technical director of Peenemundy.
The P in my ass army.
Yeah, Army Research Center in Germany, who was instrumental in developing the lethal V-2 rocket that devastated England during the war. Von Braun and other rocket scientists were brought to Fort Bliss, Texas, and White Sands Proving Grounds, which is another place that we could probably do an episode on.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
As War Department special employees to assist the U.S. Army with rocket experimentation. And by rocket experimentation,
there you go.
I don't fucking care anymore about
You got it eventually?
Don't care.
Zzzz.
They're experimenting with each other's rockets. They would go to the bathrooms like Merle and Chursa, and they fuck each other in their own poop. Chursa! I pooped, she said. Pooped my pants. She said, oh no, Merle, you did not. He said, Chursa! I shit my fucking pants! Chursa!
R.I.P. Merle.
Yeah, Merle. So Von Braun later became the director of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and the chief architect of the Saturn V launch vehicle.
That's crazy.
Which eventually propelled 24 American astronauts to the moon. The most important thing in the eyes of the American government was they were effectively keeping these scientists, these German scientists, out of the grasps of the Soviet Union.
Oh, yeah.
You might recall at the ending of World War II, that's what started the Cold War, where the Americans were essentially in an arms race with the Soviets to find out who could build the biggest, baddest bombs that could blow the fucking world up.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And we were pretty much gridlocked with these guys for years in the Cold War. No one ever fucking died. There was lots of spies and tampering and all kinds of stuff going back and forth. And what the Americans wanted to do by essentially capturing these German scientists, they wanted to keep them out of the grasps of the Soviets. They realized that if they didn't get these scientists in under their thumb, that the Soviets were going to hire these guys or take them over to the Soviet Union, and they were going to help them expand their rocket program and their missile program, and we weren't going to be able to do that. So I think that at the end of the day, it was a good decision to go get these guys. Probably could have just chopped their fucking heads off, really, for all the shit that all the atrocities that they had committed against the Jewish people there in Germany, but they just effectively gave them jobs, which I guess worked out in our favor, and that's all is fair in love and war, is what they say, Rob Dog.
There you go.
With how far advanced these scientists were, there were more that stayed behind. So as fucking awesome as Von Braun was, and all these scientists, LeBron James that we got over here, all these awesome scientists, there were even more advanced scientists that said, I'm not going over to America. I'm willing to bet that I'm not going to get arrested, or I'm not going to have to answer for my war crimes. And they stayed behind in Germany. And there's even a conspiracy that some of these guys escaped to Antarctica and built a secret base there in Antarctica.
The most secretive continent on the planet.
Which we're going to cover all that here in just a minute.
Hell yeah.
What stayed with these German scientists was allegedly technological developments well beyond all the rocket shit that America was working on. That's where we start to learn about Foo Fighters and not...
I don't want to be a monkey ranch.
I love Foo Fighters.
Dude, Foo Fighters, let me tell you what. So, Dave Grohl is my musical idol.
Oh, he does everything.
You can't do better than Dave Grohl.
His ear is impeccable.
Yeah. He's fucking drummed for Nirvana.
He's uglier than shit.
The dude literally never has to play music ever again. He could live off of Nirvana.
And he's still out there rocking.
But he's still out there fucking shaking his dick, making killer music with Foo Fighters. I don't even like that type of rock music, but I fucking love Foo Fighters.
And some of you are saying, if these guys are going to start talking about Foo Fighters, then I'm turning this off. Well, we're talking about different Foo Fighters, because during World War II, Allied forces, Americans, Great Britain, there were instances of these UFOs, essentially, these aerial phenomenons that would chase these guys through the sky so often that they coined the term Foo Fighters. Mm-hmm. And Rob is going to tell you more about what these Foo Fighters actually were, or what they are alleged to have been.
I sure will. So, Allied forces in World War II were very adamant that they saw things in the sky that defied the laws of physics and gravity. So they would describe...
Gravity!
They would be described as UFOs and other mysterious phenomena. Now, while the term Foo Fighters was used to describe any type of UFO at that time, it wasn't coincidence that all of these Foo Fighters were typically in German fights, and they were always attacking Americans. So sightings occurred in November 1944 when pilots flying over the Western Europe by night reported seeing fast-moving, round, glowing objects following their aircraft. The objects were variously described as fiery and glowing red, white, and orange, or orange, I should say. Some pilots described them as resembling Christmas tree lights, and when they reported that they seemed to toy with the aircrafts, making wild turns before simply just vanishing. Pilots and air crew reported that the objects flew formations with the aircrafts and behaved as if they were under intelligent control, but never displayed hostile behavior. However, they could not be outmaneuvered or shot down.
That's an X-Files song.
I know. I was picking that up. Okay. So on December 13th, 1944, the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force Expeditory? Yeah, I think that's right. In Paris, issued...
Expeditionary.
Yeah, there you go. Expeditionary. Expeditory.
And I'm the drunk one.
Yeah, you can't get fucking 4 bourbons in me and expect me to read these words.
I'm fine.
Usually I'm the reader, but it's okay. In Paris, issued a press release, which was featured in the New York Times the next day, officially describing the phenomenon as a new German weapon. Follow-up stories used the term Foo Fighters, appeared in the New York Herald, Tribune, and the British Daily Telegraph.
So if you're not tracking here, what actually is happening? These Foo Fighters weren't actually aliens per se.
Right.
The technological advances the Germans had made, they had designed some type of anti-gravity craft.
Yep.
Without fucking wings. There was 2 brothers that were involved. I didn't write their names down.
Mm-hmm.
But they designed this craft without wings, essentially, that looked like a disc flying through the air, and it could manipulate. It could essentially look like it was manipulating gravity.
Yeah, and this is also the same, and this is completely irrelevant to what we're talking about now, but it ties into other events. This is also the same exact aircraft that ties into what people say could possibly have been the Roswell crash.
Yeah, and I read that a lot through my research here, that the Germans had effectively created some type of flying saucer, a flying disc, and they were able to man the spacecraft, and they were able to arm the spacecraft. They got a guy flying a fucking disc through the air, a Foo Fighter, essentially, that was fighting with Allied forces in the air, and these airmen are seeing these flying discs, and they're like...
Yeah, just a hovering, almost anti-gravity disc.
What the fuck is this thing? And it starts shooting at them, and these guys are like, we can't compete with this thing. And I don't think that the Germans had mastered the flying disc at this point. I think they had created something that they could get up in the air momentarily, but I don't think it was something that could... sustain a long flight of any type. I don't think that they could go for long flights with these things and be in the air for an hour, 2 hours. It wasn't doable at that point with what they had.
Right. I mean, and during all this time, this is the heyday of UFO, alien encounters. We're talking, us finding aliens and taking them and questioning them and dissecting them and all this stuff. So it kind of, it gives a little bit of credence to the fact that maybe we could have possibly been reverse engineering to make such a huge jump.
Absolutely.
In our spacecraft from where we were to all of a sudden, once World War II hits and once the apparent threat of nuclear weapons happens, which we've talked about tons of times, which if we ever had any sort of alien involvement, it would have been due to the threat of nuclear weapons and the threat that it had on and everything.
And that's what unfolds here in just a little bit.
Good deal.
The admiral in question here, he has some contact with the aliens.
Awesome.
It's documented that as early as 1917.
I was say 70, damn, big jump.
30 years before this. At Ludwig Maximilians University in Munich, Germany, they were making advancements with what is believed to be anti-gravity flying discs. In 1938, the Nazis claimed the territory of New Swabia in Antarctica.
I was going to say, is that a real place?
Yeah, it is a real place.
I've never heard of that.
They kind of just fucking strong-armed it and took it and set up a base there. They were actively conducting research into advanced propulsion technology while they were stationed at New Swabia. The story goes that while they were at New Swabia, hang out with me for a second here.
Okay.
That's where they discovered the entrance to Middle Earth, the Hollow Earth.
Hell yeah.
When they had set up their bases there. That's where the aliens made contact with the Nazis. That's where the Nazis started to learn the technology from the aliens. There's also giant mammals, giant reptiles, giant alien beings, giants in general that live in this hollow earth. There's a different dimension down there. And the Nazis were essentially getting information from the ETs themselves in the hollow earth. And that's where they were using that technology to kind of, I guess, move along their research with their anti-gravity and rocket and their what do we call it? Their propulsion technology.
Yeah. I definitely don't believe in Hollow Earth, but it's something really fucking cool to think about.
No, why do we not believe in it? Have you been to fucking Antarctica and seen it, dude? I fucking believe it.
I guess that's true, but all science points that that's not a thing. But
we could listen to me for a second, okay? I'm drunk, and you're fucking
drunk logic. You cannot argue with.
You're writing me off right now.
No, I'm not at all. I'm not at all. I said I would. It's fun to think about.
Oh yeah.
And if it is true, that'd be fucking cool. If there's aliens just hanging out in the center of Earth, that'd be dope as fuck.
I'm about to tell you why it is true. Right?
Okay, let me know. You may change my mind. I'm very susceptible to fucking bad advice right now.
My great-great-great-grandfather, Uncle Pork Knuckle. I've never talked about him on this show before.
Bless his heart.
Grandpa Uncle Pork Knuckle. No.
Grandpa Uncle. How does that work?
I don't know.
Only in the Alexander family tree.
I know I had an aunt and a grandma that were involved, and it kind of it blurred the lines between uncle, grandfather, dad.
Gotcha.
And it fucked it all up. At this time, we could barely fly. I mean, we could in 1940 we were flying. We weren't flying well. I mean, we weren't doing great at it. But they established this base in 1938.
Okay.
They went from barely being able to fucking fly to having a goddamn spaceship, Rob.
That's definitely true.
And there's whispers. There's a theory that they'd met people there. They met beings, reptilians, essentially, in the Hollow Earth that aided them in their advancements of this propulsion technology.
Right. I'm trying to check. 1947 is when the Roswell crash happened. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's literally right around the same time. So, yeah. I never rule out the fact that we made significant jumps in technological advances due to...
The Wright brothers are flying around in trash bags and toothpicks.
Fucking airplanes that they have to pedal to flap their wings.
The Germans got a fucking spaceship.
Yeah, they're fighting like F-16s, like back in World War II.
And the Germans like, like, how the fuck did you learn how to do this? They're like,
The States just has two guys with handlebar mustaches pedaling bicycle pedals to fly a plane.
I'll tell you what here, we were on the alley building bicycles in Dayton, Ohio, and someone says, hey, we need an airplane. I said, the goddamn Germans, they got a flying space saucer.
And by the way, Ohio holds that fucking right of first in flight.
Yeah.
What other fucking state is that?
Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yeah, eat shit. We hold that.
The birthplace of aviation.
They may have been born there, but they fucking learned how to fly here, buddy.
Yeah, you fucking... there's nothing... The only thing good that came out of North Carolina is One Tree Hill. That was a good show.
Michael Jordan did go to college there.
He sucks.
He's fucking awful.
Straight up, Kobe and LeBron versus Michael. LeBron and Kobe will win. Don't make any jokes either.
LeBron would fucking block a lot of shots.
No, have you seen LeBron James' feet before?
They're fucking hideous. They're like Hobbit feet.
Stop this show right now and Google LeBron James' feet. Look it up.
He is the most flat-footed motherfucker.
He's got the nastiest. He's got a toe in the middle of his foot. It's like we used to, when I was a fat kid, when I was younger, I was a fat man now, but when we were little, we used to go to this pond called the Plaza by my house.
Yeah, that's right by my wife's old house.
Yeah, we would go fishing there, and my dad's like, you guys need to be careful, because some of shit you catch out of there you can't fucking put back.
They would go swimming in that thing.
Oh, my God.
No wonder you fucking guys don't get sick anymore.
People would dump toxic waste in this pond. I swear to God, we caught a fish there one time.
It was like the Hudson River, but in like a little fucking neighborhood of Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, we caught a fish with a fucking horn, and it had dentures. It had the teeth.
You caught a narwhal.
We caught a... Come on! Got me a narwhal! Got a fucking narwhal. Had a crusty horn. It didn't look like a horn. It looked like a turd. It looked like a white dog turd.
Oh, man, that plaza, man. I miss that fucking place.
I do not.
I don't either.
Scary.
That's terrifying.
Hills had eyes, motherfuckers, and trucks would roll up like, yo, boys, gotta catch some catfish. I remember one time we were...
Any place you have to walk through, you have to walk through a path that's like beat in, like from people walking through, like in between trees. Yeah. There's no direct route to it. You have to sneak to get to.
When we went there one time, we had this kid that lived across the street. He was dirt fucking poor as the power was always off. He didn't have any toys. We would break toys and put them in trash bags and take him over there to his house because he didn't have any toys.
Directly across the street from you?
A little bit over. Not Eric.
I thought you were talking about Dustin.
No, the other way. There's a kid not Boob. There was a kid named Andy.
Oh, okay.
But one day we're talking about, like, we can never catch any fish while we're there. My dad's like, I'll make you guys some bait, and I'll make you some dough ball, and you go up there, use this dough ball, and you'll catch some fucking catfish. And I didn't know what his dough ball, but he put like NyQuil and Sudafed and wheat germ and all kinds of weird shit.
Bro, that's dating right there, dog.
Yeah, and he would make this dough ball.
Even the fish had addiction.
He would slay fish with his dough ball.
You're a fucking methadone fish.
Okay, yes. hey, man, you got any more of that fucking bait up there? But he said,
they fucking come up scratching their face and shit.
He made us a bowl of that shit. And they look like little graham cracker crumb balls. They look delicious.
Oh,
but he said, don't fucking eat these things. It's funny that anytime my dad, like, I left the house with anything edible, he'd have to tell me, like, hey, that's safe to eat or that's not safe to eat. He'd have to fucking let me know.
That's sad.
Life with a fat kid. So I knew, I'm like, I can't fucking eat this shit. But we got there, and this Andy kid, we took the poor kid across the street. I doubled him on my pegs because he's too poor for his own goddamn bicycle. We get there, and we start fishing. We're not catching anything. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Why do we need to buy you a bike? Nick has pegs across the street.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm starving. And I'm like, we can leave if you want, dude. Like, we're not catching anything. He's like,
we got some fish bait.
No, he's like, what do you think these taste like? I said, my dad said, do not eat those. Like, do not eat those, man. And I swear to God, this motherfucker took 4 of these dough balls.
Dude, that's so sad.
And he ate these dough balls. An hour later, this kid was sleeping so fucking hard.
He's fucking ODing.
We had to sit him on my little brother's bicycle and push this motherfucker home. He was asleep. I think he was probably dead.
Oh my gosh,
and
dude.
we got him home, and his dad, Danny, was so drunk. His dad, Danny, said, what the fuck is wrong with him? And he said he fell asleep and he hasn't woken back up. And he's like, "What are you, boy?" He started accusing us of, like, smoking drugs that I didn't even know what the fuck a drug was. He accused us of smoking heroin and stuff. I don't know what any of this shit is. I'm like 8 or 9 years old. But he asked me if he ate anything. Man. I said he ate 4 of these dough balls, and he picked one up and like squished it between his fingers. He's like, smells like fucking cough syrup. He's gonna be all right.
You know exactly what it was.
He's gonna be up in just a little bit. He's just sleeping. Man. Ain't nothing like a little Benadryl, something like that. But Danny was mad, dude. Andy would fucking, I don't know if he died or lived, but he lived after that day.
What was his last name?
I don't want to say on the show. I'll tell you when we're done.
Do I know him?
I don't. Probably not. Maybe.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Andy.
He went to our school.
I know one Andy off the top of the head, and it's definitely not him.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about it after we're done.
Okay. No, you know what? I know who it is.
Okay.
Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I do.
Okay. Now, let's get back to the topic at hand here.
You know what? I'm just going to fucking say it.
Start with a B.
Yep. Okay. That's it. There you go. Yep, I know who it is. That explains a lot.
Okay. The Nazis had a lot of strange beliefs. And the person that was kind of the catalyst for these beliefs was a guy named Heinrich Himmler.
Yeah.
He was the head of the SS, which is the Nazi version of the NSA, FBI, secret. There was like a
Heimlich maneuver was named after him.
I think I might have spelled it wrong. I think it might be Heinrich. I don't think it's the same guy.
It has to be.
I don't think
there is no
dude.
Heimlich could not have been that common of a fucking name.
But I'm pretty sure I spelled it wrong. I'm like, Rob's gonna think this is the fucking Heimlich guy.
No. It definitely has to be.
It's Heinrich.
Oh, Heinrich.
Heinrich.
It's not even the same word.
It's not Heimlich. I just wrote Heinrich because it's. You're like, oh, it's the fucking. Oh shit! It's the guy that beats you in the tummy when you're fucking choking. No, it's Heinrich. Hyman Himmler.
Hyman.
He was the head of the SS. The SS for the Nazis was much like their special forces combined with NSA. They're watching you. They're going to fuck you up. That was the...
I'm having too much fun.
And he was a big believer in the occult. He thought that he was completely subscribed to the theory of there being a hollow earth. The Nazis spent millions of dollars trying to prove their theories from what he believed were true. In 1942, the Nazis went on an expedition to actually physically look for the hollow earth. So they had the excursion in 1938. That's kind of where they a lot of people allege they made contact. But in 1942, Heinrich Himmler headed a I guess, an expedition where they were physically going to Hollow Earth.
Okay.
Ooh-wee, man, goddamn. So that takes us to Operation Highjump, which is we're an hour into the episode. And we're just now finally getting to the topic.
To the main story
to
of
the topic.
I mean, there's a lot of backstory to this, though. I mean, all these operations lead up to
It ties in. We're talking about Operation Highjump, or the official name, the United States Navy Antarctic Developments Program. It was a U.S. Navy operations organized by Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd Jr. and Rear Admiral Ethan Eric Larson. For those of you keeping score at home, Rob and I are Rear Admirals.
Yes. Amen, brother.
What is a fucking Rear Admiral?
I don't fucking know. I don't know anything about
It's the
military rank.
The guy that eats the stinky booty, not...
Oh, God.
I'm a front admiral, Rob. I don't know about you. What is a Rear Admiral? Operation Highjump started on August 26, 1946, and only lasted 6 months.
Man.
The official word from the government was Operation Highjump, or Project Highjump, as we'll call it.
Sure.
We'll go back and forth. They were simply going to Antarctica to look for coal deposits.
Okay.
For something like that, I would venture to say a team of maybe a dozen scientists would probably suffice. On Operation Highjump, it included 4,700 men, 17 ships,
holy shit,
33 aircraft, and 3 teams of sled dogs armed with sleds as well. Primarily, it was to establish a U.S. research base called Little America the Fourth. Now, Project Highjump's objectives, and this is from the official narrative from the Wikipedia page. Their objectives were training personnel and testing equipment in frigid conditions, consolidating and extending the United States sovereignty over the largest practicable area of the Antarctic continent, determining the feasibility of establishing, maintaining, and utilizing bases in the Antarctic, investigating possible base sites, developing techniques for establishing, maintaining, and utilizing air bases on ice, with particular attention to later applicability of such techniques to operations in interior Greenland, where conditions are comparable to those in the Antarctic. It's a fucking mouthful of bullshit. They're looking for coal deposits, and they've sent 5,000 guys armed with fucking destroyers and battleships. They're not looking for coal deposits. They're looking for trouble.
That sounds about right.
Anytime my old pop saw me leaving the house with a broken beer bottle, he'd say, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to fucking stab somebody, Dad." He said, "No, you're going out looking for trouble. You need to stay here." Now my boy's not leaving the house with a broken beer bottle.
Yeah,
I said, "Dad,
I'd say the same.
You get in my face, I'll fucking stab you with this broken beer bottle." And that's what I told him, Rob. To this day, I'll still tell him that.
I believe you.
You know, it's funny. To this day, I'll still tell him, like, I'm gonna whip. My wife will say something about my dad. I'll be like, I'll whip his fucking ass. I'll knock his teeth out. And she'll call him and she'll tell him that I said this. She'll be like, Nick just said he'll beat the fucking fire off you, and he'll start laughing. 62 years old. He just laugh because he knows he just slapped the taste right out of my mouth. There's nothing I can do about it.
Could you really hit your dad back though?
The money was right, dude. I'm a man of many chances. I'm a man of opportunity.
I'd have to dig a 6-foot hole to slap mine, but I mean, I think I would.
Not the other guy. We can go talk.
Yeah. I'd have to wear this wig so he'd recognize me.
Dad.
Like, oh my God, you look just like me.
Oh. We got to go talk to him.
We need to get him on the show.
Yeah.
I need to make my first actual, like, eye to eye with him.
Wow, imagine the
via
ratings
the podcast.
for that one, dude. Have you ever talked to him before?
No, never.
Your biological dad, you've never ever talked to him.
Never.
And he probably lives
And he lives within a mile of you.
Do you know where he lives at?
I don't. I mean, it's public record, so I could easily find out, but I know he lives in this same city.
So let's go talk. What's better yet? I have an idea. We'll go. We'll tell him that I'm the son. I'm fatter and uglier, and then he'll get upset, and we'll be like, "No, Daryl, whatever his fucking name. I don't know his name.
His name's Bobby, the same as mine.
Bobby. Bob.
Well, his name's Robert, but he goes after Bob.
And I'll say, I'm not really your son. This is your son. And then I'll pull the veil off you, and then you just, there you are, tan skin, perfect teeth.
It'll be like the next evolution, like you evolved.
He'd be like, I don't remember having a fat kid. I don't remember no fat fuck coming out your mom.
And I come out and he's like, I didn't have a fucking bald kid either, motherfucker.
He's bald and fat.
Where's my next kid?
Give me the fat one back. Give me that fat fucker. Hey, weren't you the one that was helping my wife in the bathroom at Kroger the other day? Merle? Is that you, Merle?
Who likes alcohol and NASCAR better? Because that's my son.
Yeah. Whichever one of you likes to be fighting and fucking, that's the one that came out my dick hole.
God.
We got to talk about Admiral Byrd for a second.
Let's talk about Mr. Byrd.
Admiral Byrd discussed the lessons learned from the operation in an interview with Lee Van Atta of International News Service held aboard the expedition's command ship, the USS Mount Olympus. The interview appeared in the Wednesday, March 5th, 1947 edition of the Chilean newspaper El Mercurio and read in parts as follows. And the one thing to keep in mind is what everyone believed about Rear Admiral Richard Byrd is that he had experienced things that were unexplainable, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
He had what he had seen on Operation Highjump on this expedition. Some say he observed things that would change the fate of humanity.
Oh, wow.
So when you try and when you read this excerpt here, just keep in mind that some people believe he saw some really heavy shit that could change the world forever. So Rob's going to tell you about this real quick.
Sure. Now, Admiral Richard E. Byrd warned today that the United States should adopt measures of protection against the possibility of an invasion of the country by hostile planes coming from the polar regions. So the Admiral explained that he was not trying to scare anyone, but that the cruel reality is that in the case of the new war, the United States could be attacked by planes flying over one or both poles. Now, this statement was made as a part of a what the fuck kind of word is that? Recapitulation?
There you go.
Recapitalization. There we go. Of his own polar experience in an exclusive interview with International News Service. Now, talking about the recently completed expedition, Byrd said that the most important result of his observations and discoveries is the potential effect that they have in relation to the security of the United States. The fantastic speed with which the world is shrinking, recalled the Admiral, is one of the most important lessons learned during the recent Antarctic exploration. I have to warn compatriots that the time has ended when we're able to take refuge in our isolation and rely on the certainty that the distances, the oceans, and the poles were a guarantee of safety. So pretty much he's saying that these fuckers could fly over both poles, attack us,
and without us even knowing it. Which, I mean, I think that before that was never even thought about. Not over the Antarctic.
Not over North and South.
And to move on to our next point here, this Admiral Byrd guy was a wild fucking dude. He had, and the thing in question here is he kept a diary, a captain's log type deal, and this diary was revealed years after he'd actually passed away. But he kind of, in his diary, he alluded to coming into contact with strange otherworldly beings and actually seeing the entrance to Hollow Earth in his captain's logs.
Okay.
And he kind of, that stuff kind of came to light after he had passed away. But while the expedition, Project Highjump, or Operation Highjump, was for coal deposits, a lot of people were reading between the lines on that one, much like you can read in what Rob just said, where Admiral Byrd said, we went there, why, in relation to this expedition, if they're going there for coal deposits, why is, when asked about this specific expedition, is he saying, we got to fucking worry about people with planes attacking us? Like people
definitely
from that area attacking. That's not what they were going there to look for, but that's what he was speaking on. Like we referenced before, the Americans were aware of the German studies in Antarctica, and they were even under the impression that there was an underground base. There were the 3 divisions of Operation Highjump, 1 land group with tractors, explosives, and plenty of equipment to refurbish
Fucking tractors.
Little America and make an airstrip to land the 6 R-4Ds or the DC-3s and 2 seaplane groups. The R-4Ds were fitted with jet assist takeoff bottles in order to take off from the short runway of the aircraft carrier, the Philippine Sea.
Yeah.
They also were fitted with large skis for landing on the ice field prepared for them. The skis were specially fitted at 3 inches above the surface of the carrier deck. When landing on the ice at Little America, the 3 inches of tire in contact with the snow and ice provided just enough, not too much drag for a smooth landing. Admiral Bird's team of 6 R-4Ds were fitted with a super secret Trimetricon spy cameras, and each plane was trailing a magnetometer. They flew over as much of the continent as they could in the short 3-month summer. This is the time that they were there for this Project Highjump. They called it this was the summertime, the part of the 3 months that they were there. But they used this Trimetricon and this magnetometer or magnetometer, and they would fly all over the Arctics there to try and they were essentially doing mapping. I think there was more of a surveillance mission, trying to see what the Nazis had set up. But here I am. And this specific author says if there was a hollow place under the surface of the ice or the ground, it will show up on these meters. This is where the shit gets really fucking weird for this specific excursion. On the last of the many mapping flights where all 6 planes went out, and this is what they would do every day, they'd fly around and map the areas, each on certain preordained paths to film and measure, because they were making a documentary while they were doing all this. They were measuring with the magnetometers. I think that's
magnetometers.
Magnetometers. Okay.
Maybe.
Admiral Bird's plane returned 3 hours late. It was stated that he had, and that's a long time for a calculated mission like that.
Big time.
It was stated that he had lost an engine and he had to throw everything overboard except for the films themselves and the results of the meter readings in order to maintain altitude long enough to return to Little America.
Wow.
This is what the belief is. This is the time when he met with the representatives of the Aryans and a contingent of Nazis.
Oh, wow. Bunch of white people.
In his diaries later on that were discovered, he said he speaks specifically about the Aryans, and he speaks specifically about reaching the entrance of Hollow Earth and how he was treated upon entry to Hollow Earth. And for many people, they argue that say, well, all of his time movements, everything he did was completely calculated and it was accounted for. Well, there was a time that he was gone for 3 hours and no one knew where the fuck he was. And when he came back, all of his shit was gone. None of all the records of his shit, everything's gone. So they couldn't prove where he was at or what he was doing. Immediately upon returning to America with their data, because they called off the trip after this, after he went missing for the fucking shit was done. Immediately upon returning back to America with their data, it was taken from them immediately and classified as top secret. Mind you, whatever they found out about coal deposits, I can't imagine it would need to be classified as top secret by the U.S. government.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So all the information, and this is all documented, these are things that are information that's highly obtainable. You can go pull the documents yourself. Their information was taken from them. Their data, their studies were, I guess, confiscated as soon as they returned back to America. Now, the Secretary of Defense at the time was a guy by the name of James Forrestal. He was the actual first Secretary of Defense for the United States of America. The narrative was that he was slowly losing his mind, and he was actually a threat to national security. So they loved, Harry S. Truman, I believe, is the one that put him in office, that put James Forrestal in office. They loved him whenever he first started. But then they say, much like they've always just make shit up, they say that he started to turn a little bit, that he had kind of loose lips, but there's also the belief that he learned too much information too quickly. And there was a lot of different things that he knew that if it got out, it would ruin a lot of things for America and for the U.S. government.
Okay.
So they kept a really watchful eye on this guy. He was in line for information as much as the president. He was learning as much stuff as anyone in office in Washington, D.C. He actually started to talk about Operation Highjump after he retired. Maybe he talked a little too much about Operation Highjump.
Oops.
They forced him to retire because they said that he was going loopy. After he retired is when he started to squeal about Operation Highjump. The same time that he finally started to come forth with some of this information that he had received while he was the Secretary of Defense, the government wanted to, quote unquote, help him feel better. So by helping him feel better, they had him admitted to the Bethesda Naval Hospital. And he was immediately put inside of an isolation, like mental health unit when he was admitted to the hospital. While he was there, he was adamant that there were dangerous characters watching him between the Russian agents, J. Edgar Hoover's FBI, and many other people in the shady government. And let me tell you something about J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. Those were some fucking wild, wild west motherfuckers that did whatever they want and did not ask for permission. They took what they wanted. They did what they wanted. There was no asking.
Shoot now, ask questions later.
They were some John Wayne motherfuckers. They did whatever they wanted.
Yep.
And even after James Forrestal was placed into the unit, he was still like, oh my God, these Russian spies, the FBI, they're all watching me. And everyone's like, you're just losing your mind. Mind you, just a few couple years prior, his mind was good enough for him to be the first Secretary of Defense of the United States of America.
What do you know?
What do you know? During this stay in the hospital, he wasn't even allowed to have visitations from his own wife. Doctors started to see slight improvements in his condition, they allege, even allowing a visit from another government official. So they won't even let his wife come in, but they let some buddy, they called him a buddy, another rear admiral, I don't know his name, but they let him come visit.
2 rear admirals?
And this guy said, oh, I think he seemed like he was getting better, but of all the people you let come visit him, you won't let his own wife come visit him, but just some buddy, you let him come visit him. But then just a few days, 2 days later after this buddy came and talked to him.
Was it a cum buddy?
It was a fucking tummy stick buddy.
Fucking nutty buddy.
It was a muddy buddy. Oh, you're in my mud. That's what I say when guys are fucking me in the ass. Hey, Rob's dead. You're in my mud. 2 days after this guy visited James Forrestal, James told his keeper that because they had like a naval corps off, some type of naval corps, someone, just like a babysitter. They would sit there with James Forrestal in the mental health in his isolation unit and just keep an eye on him. That was his job, this young Navy guy, to fucking sit there and watch James all the time and to never leave his side. He wasn't allowed to leave his side and just sat there with him.
Okay.
So that night, James said that he did not want a sleeping pill and that he was going to read a book to help himself ease the sleep. At that point, his keeper decided that he had some errands to run in the middle of the night. Just in the middle of the night, oh, I got to go pay my Lazarus fucking charge card.
Lazarus. Holy fuck. God damn, how long have you been holding on to that one? Lazarus.
Pay my Sears charge.
Holy shit.
When the keeper came back, the window was open and there was a cord tied around the radiator heater and the cord was going out the window.
You fucked me up with that Lazarus mention. Holy fuck, dude.
You ever been to Lazarus, dude?
God, yeah, dude, I forgot all about that shit.
My mom and dad used to fight over my mom's Lazarus charge card a lot when I was a kid.
That was one of the charge cards that my mom used my social security number while I was 5 to rack up a credit card bill on.
Oh, thanks for fucking my home buying process.
All
up, Mom.
because I had a different last name and the fucking nobody checked that shit in the 90s.
That's great. That was fucking great.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Check's in the mail, bitch.
No, it's not.
So, when the keeper returned from paying his Lazarus bill, he noticed that there was a cord tied around the radiator heater, and the cord was going out the window. Prior to this, when Mr. Forrestal arrived at the hospital, he was under strict doctor's orders to be kept in a room with barred windows where he could not open his window. Well, all of a sudden, it's just convenient that they moved him to a room where the window was allowed to be open. The Navy keeper ran to the window and saw that James Forrestal had fell 10 floors to his death.
Isn't it funny how this stuff happens? It always happens with the fucking like the U.S. government when they're involved.
Yes, he fucking hung himself and he jumped out the window, like fucking double whammy.
Oh man!
And they say he just he jumped out the window.
They facilitate suicides way too often.
He is the highest ranking government official to ever commit suicide as well. That's one interesting piece of information. And this is all the same time where he's like, yeah, sure, I know about Operation Highjump. And they are like, no, you don't.
Speaking of Highjump, watch what I can do.
Yeah, watch this Highjump. He didn't get very high. And more recently, there's been documents released that before the end of World War II, 2 German provision U-boats, a U-530 and a U-977, were launched from a port on the Baltic Sea following a steady stream of supplies that were carried out throughout the closing stages of the war. Reportedly, they took with them the members of the anti-gravity disc research and development teams carrying notes, drawings, and designs for German flying discs. The last of the most vital disc components were on these vessels.
Okay.
So now we get to March 11th of 1947. This is where we start to get into Admiral Bird's secret diary that was discovered after he passed away.
Ooh, who the fuck keeps a diary besides Doug Funny?
A captain, a rear fucking admiral dude. Someone that's behind on their Lazarus card that needs to figure out, line their payments up and shit.
Did you ever keep one when you were little?
Oh, a diary?
Yeah.
I was too
a journal.
I was too stupid. No, I didn't.
I did for like 2 days.
I think I probably started once 100 times, but never did.
Yeah, and I think it's because I watched Doug when I was little. Yeah. And he had a journal, and I was like, that's fucking cool. I want to do that.
If you go to my bedroom and my parents' room now.
You can only write so many stories about how your dad beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
It's real good times.
If you go in my old room, I still have all your guys' phone numbers.
Yeah, dude.
Written on the wall.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Go there now and your phone number would be written up there.
That's sweet.
It's pretty cool.
We'll have to go there. We'll have to prank call people.
4th grade. Yeah, none of those numbers work anymore. I think there might be one phone number on there that still works.
I'll see if 1039's number still works.
The rumor is believed. Okay. The first journal entry I'm going to get to here. This is from Rear Admiral Byrd after he returned back to America after the Project Highjump. He says, I have just attended a staff meeting at the Pentagon. I have stated fully my discovery and the message from the master. All is duly recorded. The president, the master. Listen to that part. The master. He met somebody there that was the master.
Yeah, that's a sweet title.
The president has been advised. I am now detained for several hours, 6 hours, 39 minutes to be exact.
What if it was just Mr. Miyagi?
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off.
I am interviewed intently by top security forces and a medical team. It was an ordeal.
Sure.
I'm placed under strict control via the national security provisions of the United States of America. I am ordered to remain silent in regard to all that I have learned on the behalf of humanity. Incredible. Incredible. I'm reminded that I am a military man and I must obey orders.
And yet here you are writing it in a journal that anybody can find.
Yeah. And he, which is good though, that he documented this stuff. And everything kind of swirls around that 3-hour flight where he did not come back. That's where all the mystery, that's where the epicenter for that conspiracy comes from, is that 3-hour flight where he didn't come back. During his Arctic flight of 1,700 miles beyond the North Pole, he reported by radio that he saw below him not ice and snow, but land areas consisting of mountains, forests, green. This is in the middle of the fucking Arctic, people. Green vegetation, lakes, and rivers, and in the underbrush saw a strange animal resembling the mammoth.
Holy shit. Can you imagine if that was real? That would fuck up everybody's thought of the poles.
Yeah. The woolly mammoth.
Oh yeah. Green land, not everything covered by snow.
It just like goddamn Narnia.
Yeah.
Imagine the size of the pole on a mammoth, dude.
Fuck.
Probably a big old fucking pole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Big dog.
And this is another journal entry. It says, the radio man and I are taken, and this is his exact
recollections of what happened.
Recollection of when he arrives to Hollow Earth and how he was greeted when he enters into Hollow Earth.
This is juicy.
The radio man and I are taken from the aircraft, and we are received in a most cordial manner. We were then boarded on a small platform-like conveyance with no wheels. It moves us towards the glowing city with great swiftness.
Glowing city.
As we approach, the city seems to be made of a crystal material. Soon we arrive at a large building that is a type I have never seen before. It appears right out of the design board of Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah.
Or perhaps more correctly, out of a Buck Rogers setting. We are given some type of warm beverage which tasted like nothing I've savored before. Yes, my son, replied the master. The dark ages that will come now for your race will cover the earth like a pall.
The fuck is a pall?
A pal, or
P-A-L-L.
Pal. But I believe that some of your race will live through the storm. Beyond that, I cannot say. We see at a great distance a new world stirring from the ruins of your race, seeking its lost and legendary treasures, and they will be here, my son, safe in our keeping. When that time arrives, we shall come forward again to help revive your culture and your race. Perhaps by then you have learned the futility of war and its strife, and after that time, certain of your culture and science will be returned for your race to begin anew. You, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message.
So, pal has one of two different meanings. It's either one, a cloth spread over a coffin, hearse, or tomb, or two, a dark cloud covering of smoke, dust, or similar matter. I'm assuming it's going to be the latter.
I believe it's like a fart cloud. A hazy, nasty fart cloud. It's what we're going to get when the entire world farts at the same time.
Oh, man, that'd be so cool.
Instead of Biden bucks, they're going to give us gas station burritos.
Yeah.
And then everybody's going to fucking wreck their underwear all at once.
That's awesome.
And then the woolly mammoths are going to get all fucking worked up.
My son was in the bathroom pooping the other day.
Me too.
And I went upstairs to go to the upstairs bathroom, and they're directly above each other. And I told him to let me know when he flushed the toilet so maybe our turds could touch. We tried. I don't know if they did. They didn't get back to us.
He's like, Dad,
I'm about to flush.
And since our turds touched, do you think I could sleep with you tonight?
I had to flush a little bit sooner because mine was on the second floor.
You're like, careful, son. Mine's a race car. I got a fat, heavy one.
He had the school bus turd. That kid poops like a fucking full grown man.
Impressive.
I know, it's really impressive.
The final log was apparently in 1956. That's 10 years after the ordeal.
I'll say that's a good little ways.
And Byrd just wanted to have this secret exposed.
Okay.
He says, this can be the only hope for mankind. I've seen the truth and has quickened my spirit and has set me free. I have done my duty toward the monstrous military-industrial complex. Now the long night begins to approach, but there shall be no end. Just as the long night of the Arctic ends, the brilliant sunshine of truth shall come again, and those who are of darkness shall fall in its light. For I have seen that land beyond the pole, the center of the great unknown.
I like how you spoke up during the all caps section.
That's what it means.
That's the way I would take it.
And that, my friends, is Operation Paperclip, Operation Highjump, all of them tied together. And I didn't really get into it, but some accounts, there's a couple guys that were part of these crews on these, because they took like almost 5,000 guys with them. There's a couple guys that came forward and said, it was supposed to be a coal deposit mission. And they said, oh, no way. We were getting fucking attacked by shit.
Yeah.
There was things shooting at us. We had to get the fuck out of there. And some guys even said that they were essentially chased away by some type of unknown flying saucers, flying discs. But those guys were kind of silenced in their stories were kind of just like, we're not going to take the kind of people shut them out. But a few of those guys did come forward and they said that we were on that expedition and it wasn't a coal deposit thing.
Hmm.
We were literally being shot at and chased by other worldly objects, things that defied the laws of gravity.
Weird.
So call it what you will. We will call this, though, the guy that was almost turning into the whistleblower killed himself twice.
Ooh.
He hung himself and jumped out a fucking window.
Wow. Yeah.
James Forrestal, they falsely imprisoned him, kept him away from his family, his wife. He got one visit, though. One government visitor. And then when that guy said, yeah, this motherfucker knows too much, 2 nights later,
Let's make sure he can jump out of the window.
that guy says, I got to go pay my Lazarus card. And he jumps out the goddamn window to his death. 10 stories. Hanging himself from the radiator wasn't good enough. He got to jump. He got to jump out the window.
Hey, sometimes it'd be like that.
So what do you think, Rob Dog?
I think I don't fucking know, man. I definitely could see how it would be.
Lot to unpack on this one.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that it could be. I'm completely intrigued by the whole secret sneak attack from the North and South Poles. I think that's super interesting.
It's scary.
And the fact that he said that he passed over and everything was green and woolly mammoths. That's crazy. You don't think about that shit. You're programmed to think that North and South Pole is nothing but ice, uninhabitable land. But we also know that Antarctica is the most secretive continent we have on our planet.
It is.
And we know that we inhabit and I say we, like the United States, inhabits a lot of the landmass of that area. And we do see certain things there that we don't know about.
Yeah. And for the flat Earth community, I know we've never given much credence to the flat Earth theory. And I'm not
a flat earther, yeah.
I'm not well read on it, but I do know that in terms of mapping for flat earthers, they believe the Earth is essentially a saucer, essentially almost like a flatter version of an upside down Hershey Kiss is how they think the Earth is shaped. And the outer rim of the flat Earth is when you get to the Arctics, is when you get to what we think is the North and South Pole. The flat earthers believe that Admiral Byrd is the only one that got to the brim of flat Earth, the Arctic rim, and he kept flying over the beyond, and that's when he got into like the green vegetation and the mammoths. There's a world beyond the Arctic rim for the flat earthers. So that's kind of one thing that they do believe. Whether that's true or not, who knows? Just like we'll never know if anyone with puffy nipples listens to this show. If you have puffy nipples and you've been listening to us for a long time,
what the fuck are you doing?
Send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. A lot of extra points if you send us pictures.
I'll be totally honest. I've never seen a nipple I wouldn't put in my mouth, so I really don't care.
I sent you that Snapchat of me playing with my cat's nipples, didn't I?
Yeah, like I said, I stand by the statement I just made.
She tore me up after that.
Yeah, she
infected. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. I lit my hand up yesterday on a
rhinoceros.
What are those things called that you like chop onions with, like a mandolin?
Oh yeah, those are gnarly.
I didn't know there was one in my drawer, and I reached down to grab a fucking platter to put a bunch of cheeseburgers on. I reached in there and fucking hit it, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" And she was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I fucking cut my hand on this damn thing you hid underneath this plate."
Dead. Stacy chops her finger off every time she uses the mandolin.
Dude, all day at work, it just kept opening up over and over again. So I look at my hand and there'd be like a puddle of blood in the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
Because it's right on my middle finger. Pissed me off.
Look at this. Is that this guy named Chad W? He said, "Hello, Mr. Nick. I worked with him at my last site."
No, hell yeah.
And he was the greatest. He's the sweetest man.
Was he the old guy that knew Jeffrey Dahmer?
No, but he was in on that.
Okay.
He was just... I think he was the one
Was it Jeffrey Dahmer? I think it was Jeffrey Dahmer, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's the one that turned me on to that guy.
Oh, okay.
And if some of you don't know that story, there was a guy at my work that he was an old hippie. He's retired now. I tried to get him on the show, but he didn't answer my text. I said, "Hey, man, it's Nick. Would you want to come on the show and talk about your Jeffrey Dahmer thing?" And he didn't answer my text message back.
Oh, man.
But this guy back in the 70s, I don't remember the exact time frame, but he was in Columbus, rolling around Columbus, smoking pot, picking up hitchhikers.
Wasn't a hitchhiker story?
Getting to know people, but he picked up this hitchhiker, and they agreed to go back to my buddy's apartment and smoke, get high. And when they got to the...
At this time, Jeffrey Dahmer was living in... Was it Columbus?
He was in Columbus.
In Columbus, Ohio.
And he was doing his thing already.
Yeah.
And they get back to the apartment, and they smoke some of the hitchhiker's shit. And my buddy
Fucking
said...
peyote.
Well, before they smoked it, he got a snake out, like his boa constrictor.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the hitchhiker was completely terrified of this boa constrictor. So they smoked this shit, and he said it turned him into absolute concrete. He couldn't fucking move. He said everything went in slow motion.
I was laced.
He couldn't talk. He just stuck. But this hitchhiker wouldn't get close enough to do anything because he had this this snake, this big old snake. I don't know if it was a boa constrictor or
python or something.
Something.
Some sort of constrictor.
Big fucking snake that wasn't his wiener. So then he goes over to his neighbor's apartment and starts beating on the door because he wants this guy to leave his apartment. He's beating on the door, and I want to say that his neighbor never came out, but he went back to the apartment and he mustered up enough like gumption and strength to say, "Get the fuck out of here, dude!" And he made this dude leave his apartment. And he said that he said after he left, he said he just fucking faded. He just was gone. But he got that guy out of his apartment, and then flash forward a few months, a few years, whatever. He's watching the news,
man,
and he starts hearing this thing about this murderer that was picked up in Milwaukee. And they show the guy's face on the screen. He said he looked up at the screen. He saw the guy's face. It was Jeffrey Dahmer.
The same guy that
Milwaukee.
He had.
He said it looked exactly like the guy that he had in his apartment that night. And there's the same MO for Jeffrey Dahmer.
This
was
the
hitchhiking
after
thing.
the time he'd left Columbus and moved on west.
Yeah, at this time, during the snake and the weed incident, Jeffrey Dahmer was making his rounds in Columbus. So
that's crazy.
Super cool fucking
That's
story.
such a fucking cool story.
So crazy, man. I'm thankful I got to meet him. His name was George. Just a hell of a fucking dude, man. I'd love to talk to him. He's such a storyteller and a fun dude. So
nice.
He looked like Sam Elliott.
Hell yeah.
Looked just like him.
Yeah.
Sounds just like him, too. Yeah. So just a beautiful baritone voice. And
nice.
Got that kind of drawl to it. Anyways, thanks for listening to this episode. Operation Highjump. We'll have this released on all the podcast places here soon. I think Rob talked about us doing a second episode tonight, but it's going to take me 3 fucking hours to put all this together. So
yeah, we'll try to do like a something, even if it's like a remote thing in the middle of the week, because next week I'm going to be in Las Vegas, so we're not going to make I'll be there Friday through Wednesday. So Wednesday night I'll be back here, and then maybe we can get in a remote episode while I'm in Vegas.
Maybe we can fuck each other.
Just outlining what the fuck I'm seeing and what the fuck I'm doing.
Maybe.
I think it might be cool. I'll probably be completely fucked up out of my mind.
Or maybe...
which might be fun.
Maybe Nick Nitro from Rockin' Roswell 1000 will give you a phone call after you go to Area 51.
That'd be dope.
I don't know.
Bro, I looked at that. That's the fucking trip I was thinking about doing is expensive as shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it.
It's a haul.
You'll be sorely disappointed.
Not only are you on a bus, but it's on for like 2.5 hours with a bunch of stinky tourists.
Oh, no.
How I just hang out in Vegas, play the fucking penny slots so I can get free beers and just smoke a bunch of weed. Smoke a bunch of Vegas's finest.
Yeah, dude. Best wishes. Rest in peace. All right, guys. Rob's got some good news for you.
Hey, guys, guess what? I want to see your dick.
Love you.
Love you too.